burning eyes, a bleachy stink. Downtown Los Angeles, fading to 3 blocks. On July 26, 1943, people thought the city was under gas attack. The foreign enemy never arrived. The local one was already breathing. That morning, the air did not look like fog. Fog is polite. This was yellow, sharp, and mean. People coughed in the street. Drivers wiped their eyes. Office workers tried to stare through downtown and found a wall. Los Angeles was in the middle of World War II. So the first guess sounded terrifying. Poison gas. Sabotage. Something dropped from far away. Then the city pointed at something much closer. A plant on Aliso Street? It made butadiene, a wartime ingredient for synthetic rubber. It had pipes, it had fences. It looked guilty enough for a newspaper cartoon. Officials shut it down. The air kept attacking. That is the first strange part. The city found a suspect. The suspect stopped working. The crime continued. To understand why, you need the Los Angeles that sold itself before the panic. For decades, boosters sold clean air like a product. Come west. Breathe sunshine, grow oranges, recover your lungs. Then the basin quietly built a trap. Mountains cupped the city like a bowl. Temperature inversions put a lid on the bowl. Stagnant winds stirred nothing. Smoke arrived anyway. Backyard trash burners, diesel trucks, oil refineries, factories. And then the thing everyone loved most, cars. By the early 1940s, the city was not just growing, it was exhaling. And because the exhale spread everywhere, nobody could grab it by the collar. That made officials chase simpler villains. One smokestack, one plant, one bad fence. But the air kept acting like a criminal with no address. In October 1943, Los Angeles County appointed a Smoke and Fumes Commission. That sounds like a committee invented by a coughing filing cabinet. Still, they had a real problem. The attacks came back. The eyes burned again. Visibility collapsed again. People complained again. The old smoke rules did not fit this new sky. Coal smoke was dark. London had that. Pittsburgh had that. Los Angeles had something more embarrassing. Brown haze. Acrid odor. Sunshine. The paradise ingredient was now suspicious. This is where Haagen-Smit enters the story. He was a Caltech chemist. Before smog, he studied the smells of fruit and wine, which is a very funny training program for fighting Los Angeles. He knew tiny invisible compounds could make a whole room smell different. So he looked at the city like a bad pineapple. In 1948, he turned towards smog. The obvious question was simple. What is in this air? The answer kept dodging him. During severe attacks, researchers measured high ozone. Ozone smells like an overloaded electric motor. It can bleach. It can sting. It can make eyes very unhappy. But one number made the simple answer fall apart. Haagen-Smit estimated hundreds of tons of ozone in the basin. Factories were not just spilling that much ozone into the sky. The city was making it up there. That sentence is the hinge of the whole story. The poison was not merely dumped, it was cooked. To prove it, he needed the world's least glamorous detective kit. Jars of smog, rubber strips, sensitive plants, gasoline fumes, nitrogen dioxide, and sunlight. Spinach leaves silvered, sugar beets bronzed. Rubber cracked so fast it looked personally offended. On bad smog days, rubber could start cracking in minutes. That is not weather. That is chemistry with a grudge. Then came the recipe. Hydrocarbons from gasoline, nitrogen oxides from combustion, sunlight breaking molecules apart, new oxidants forming in the air, ozone, irritating aerosols. The yellow-brown cloud with the rude personality. The Los Angeles basin was not just holding pollution, it was hosting a reaction. The mountains were the bowl. The inversion was the lid. The cars were the seasoning. The sun was the cook. And everyone was standing inside the soup. This made the politics uglier. A factory can be blamed from a distance. A car is parked in your driveway. A smokestack looks like a villain. A steering wheel feels like freedom. By the 1950s, there were roughly 2 million cars in the metropolitan area. They were putting huge amounts of hydrocarbons into the air each day. The tailpipe was not alone. Fuel tanks evaporated. Carburetors leaked vapors. Crankcases breathed dirty fumes. Every little leak looked harmless. Together, they became a weather system. Oil and auto interests did not rush to applaud this discovery. One counter-theory blamed ozone drifting down from above. Haagen-Smit answered in the least subtle way. He made artificial smog in public lectures. People watched the flasks. Then, their eyes watered. That is a strong PowerPoint. By 1954, the argument had shifted. The question was no longer whether the air was hurting people. It was who had to change. Los Angeles tried small fixes first. Burn less trash. Control obvious smoke. Enclose problem processes. Write rules. Build agencies. But every rule had a shadow. If the real villain was millions of loved machines, the cure would feel personal. In 1960, California created a Motor Vehicle Pollution Control Board. That name is not catchy, but it meant the car was officially on trial. One early target was crankcase blowbee. Engines leaked unburned fuel vapors from places most drivers never thought about. The fix was positive crankcase ventilation, a tiny plumbing trick. Dirty vapors went back through the engine to burn again. In 1963, California required PCV systems on new cars sold in the state. It was not the whole answer. Tailpipes still mattered. Fuel still evaporated. Traffic still grew. But the city had learned a new rule. You do not beat invisible pollution with one heroic switch. You beat it by making 1,000 leaks less stupid. In 1968, the state created the California Air Resources Board. Haagen-Smit became its first chair. That is the quiet twist. The fruit and wine chemist ended up helping govern the air above freeways. By 1970, Los Angeles ozone reached a brutal peak. The city had more people, more cars, more pavement, more reasons to cough. And yet the tools were finally aimed at the real machine: cleaner engines, cleaner fuels, vapor controls, catalytic converters, monitoring, rules with teeth. The air did not become perfect. Los Angeles did not turn into a crystal snow globe. But the old gas mask sky slowly lost ground. That is why this story is not just about pollution. It is about a city discovering that a disaster can come from normal habits. Not evil habits, normal ones. Driving to work, filling a tank, burning trash behind the house, building a city in a bowl and calling the bowl paradise. The first smog attack did not destroy Los Angeles. It humiliated Los Angeles. It made the city look at its sunshine, its cars, and its own sales pitch. Then, it asked a question cities still hate. What if the thing attacking us is also the thing we love? The gas mask sun is funny for about 1 second. Then, it gets rude, because the mask is not protecting the sun. It is protecting the city from itself. Los Angeles survived the air attack, but only by learning the strangest possible defense. Stop being attacked by its own breath.